Most relationships have little rituals that we do that are a wonderful way of loving each other, but are also a lot of information for helping us gauge what the status of this relationship is from moment to moment. And that can be really beneficial, and it can be very detrimental depending on how we use them. So we're going to talk about that in this video. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and I'm on a mission to eradicate loneliness. So I'm always looking for ways that we push each other away and ways that we bridge that gap back to each other. And rituals can kind of go both directions. So what is a ritual, first of all? That's just a little thing that you do, every single day in exactly the same way that lets the other person know you care about them. For example, my husband and I, we always, kiss each other, find each other in the house and kiss each other goodbye when one of us is leaving. And you don't even really think about it. It's just something you always do until somebody doesn't do it. And then it feels like, what's wrong here? So the other day, it was morning, and I came out to say goodbye to my husband because I knew he'd be leaving for work, and he was already gone. And he had to say goodbye to me. I could hear him making coffee when I was in my office, and then when I came out, he was gone, and I was like, that is so weird. He didn't say goodbye. I looked in the garage, his car was gone. And so the first thing I thought to myself was, what's wrong? Like, what happened? We don't miss a goodbye kiss unless something's wrong. Now, in this case, it just turned out that I'd had my office door closed because I had been in a session with a client, and so he had to leave. It wasn't a big deal. But most of the time when somebody skips a ritual, it's intentional. And that can send the other person into a moment of panic or anxiety because they got used to it since it was always there. And then when it gets skipped, it's like, wait, what's going on? And this can happen a lot in conflict. I used to think of this as really like black and white. I had two choices. I either had to just suck it up and get over my feelings and then go do the ritual. Like, for example, if I'm upset before bed, I always say goodnight to whoever's home, my dwindling household as my kids grow up. But, if they're awake and home, then I say goodnight before I go to bed. And so when I'm upset, the last thing I want to do is say goodnight to somebody that I'm upset with. So I would feel like I would either have to just get over all my feelings and deal with it and move on so that I could go say goodnight, or I would feel like I have to skip the ritual because I don't want to fake it. The problem is that that's weaponizing a ritual, even if it's not your intention. So I would most often skip saying goodnight. Sometimes just because I'm punishing. I'm like, you hurt me, so I feel like I can hurt you back. That's not a very noble action, is it? But sometimes we get upset and we don't make the best choices. Sometimes I would do it because I would feel like I don't want to go open up a conversation that I'm not willing to finish. So I'm just going to ignore it. Or I would feel like I'm going to say something I can't take back and I don't want to do any more damage because already we're upset. We're in the middle of conflict. So I just don't want to add anything to the situation. And other times I was just plain too tired to deal with it. But mostly I just didn't want to pretend. I felt like I either had to do the ritual, which was basically like faking my feelings, or I had to skip it so that it was clear how I felt. But there is a middle option that we can do instead of thinking about things so black and white. And it can be super beneficial, especially in conflict. And that is to do the ritual, whatever it may be, but also let the person know we are having some feelings and we're going to have to deal with it at some point. We're not going to just push it aside so that everything is fine to keep the unhealthy peace, but that right now I'm still willing to say goodnight, say goodbye, respond to your meme, thank you for dinner, whatever it is, the little rituals that you do. When you do it this way, yes, it could stress the other person out to know that they're going to have a hard conversation in the future, but it lets them know that my love is steady, our relationship is okay, we're going to be fine even with conflict. which can ease their nervous system, and it can calm them down enough so that when you get back to have that conversation at a later moment, everybody actually feels more relaxed. They feel a little bit more settled, and you can have more peaceful conflict resolution because you don't leave the person on anxious since you just skipped the ritual. So these are wonderful things to have in our relationship. In fact, if you don't have a lot of rituals, I would suggest that you go start doing some things over and over that just reassure the other person that you're good. Everything is good. And especially in conflict, keep doing those rituals. Let them know, yes, you have to have a conversation. We are going to have to deal with this, even if it's not right in this moment, but that love is not conditional, because that's what we all crave. We want to be loved unconditionally. And when we feel like conflict means that it's going to be taken away from us and we're using the lack of ritual as a cue, that's really unsettling and it's very upsetting. So that's what you're going to do next time, okay? Next time you're upset and you think about storming out of the house and not saying goodbye because you've got conflict going on, take the time to say, I love you. We're going to put a pin in this. We have to come back to this and we'll figure this out later. That eases them. It lets them know that you're coming around. Now, there have been times when I have gone to bed and then I've had to get my butt back out of bed and go say goodnight, let them know, hey, we are fine. We're not like 100% totally all better, but my love is steady. And the people that you care about need to know that. So use rituals for all the good moments and as a way to ease the relationship through those difficult moments so that you stay connected as you deal with your conflict, which is completely normal. Okay, I will talk to you next time.